Thanks for staying with us. Now, driving in the night could be a tedious job, especially with dark environments, broken down vehicles in the middle of the road, and lack of directional signs at places where, for example, some constructions could be going on. These could be very perilous. Now, for example, last week, the vehicle carrying players of Asante Kotoko Football Club in the night crashed into a stationary car ahead of it. So how do authorities in the country make driving safe for drivers at night across the country? I'll introduce my guest immediately, but let me just inform you that we will be taking you to some drivers across in here in Accra who will be telling us some of the experiences they have when they are driving at night. But I'm now joined in the studio by two gentlemen. First of all, Alexander Obing. He's in charge of research and education as the MTTD, and Henry Asumeni, in charge of special projects at the National Road Safety Commission. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Now, Mr. Obing, let me begin with you. What are some of the impediments you have identified on our road, especially at night?
Thank you very much. I think, first of all, we should all be aware that we have a systemic road safety problem. That first has to do with the fact that most of the things we do on our roads in terms of movement, either ferrying passengers or freight, are done on our roads, which is not the same as we have it elsewhere. In other words, our road is overburdened with both goods carrying and passenger carrying without any support from the rail, the trams and tubes. And what we have now with regard to the air freight is not also expensive to Ghanaians. So most of the things we do are done on the road, and that itself is a risk. In addition, at night, we also know that the darkness itself is a natural inhibition to visibility, and it reduces visibility for drivers. And we also know that we have problems with regard to faded markings on our roads, and markings also guide drivers as to what to do and keep into lane and all that. And in certain places, the roads are dark, the environments are dark, and the drivers have these problems. And of course, the issue of poor signage that are mounted are certain instances either stolen or broken or are yet to be replaced. And we also know potholing creates a lot of problem. And in certain instances, ramps or humps or speed tables that don't have approaching warning sign has also been a problem to drivers. And of course, the issue of obstruction, either a tree has fallen across the road or a vehicle has broken down, either now or for some time.
One would expect that with an obstruction like that, at least people are warned when they are approaching it.
That per the SOP, the owner is supposed to ensure that the vehicle is conspicuous with embossment of reflective tapes and stickers, and carry advanced warning devices on it, so that when the driver gets stuck or there is a crash, among others, he can deploy the devices to support, to give extra illumination to the presence of that disabled vehicle on the road. But in most cases, this luxury is not there. There are also instances where some of these things are deployed and others run over it or steal it. And we also have a problem with regard to problems that relate to drivers themselves, that impacts on night driving in terms of the profuse use of inappropriate and excessive speed tailgating, and not applying the best principles we know in driving with regard to see and be seen. And all they are interested in is keeping the foot on the accelerator pedal and speeding, among others. So these, among others, and also the fact that when these vehicles are broken down or there's an accident, the states and these agencies don't have the needed capacity to swiftly proceed to the scene to support the vehicle owner to remove it as it were. And so all these are a myriad
of issues that you have observed. On the let me come to Mr. Sumeni. You tell us from your point of view some of the challenges that we have, particularly with nighttime driving.
Okay, thank you very much and good morning to your viewers. I think DSP has said a lot about the problems that we face in the night with night driving, but one of the things that I would add is about fatigue, where most of the times people have worked throughout the day and at night they are tired, but they need to drive and get to wherever they are going. And because of that, these commercial drivers too have been working throughout the day and they need to pick these passengers to their destinations. So most of the time when it gets to the night, people are tired. That's one of the causes, apart from all the things that DSP has earmarked.
Right, so before we go ahead into the discussion proper, let's hear what the drivers themselves are saying about driving at night. My colleague Beatrice Edu has been speaking with them. Let's hear this.
Kombako side apakeno. No ma pakeo e kwan. On pakeo kwan mu so a all kona no agya ne side. Oh, kwan mfifi. Tie bi aka bi throw lighter. Because of the Wusia opponent into any bounce now I there. I want to car navy. And I do driving and the problems are
so he's saying that he has problems with some traders as well as the charcoal drivers, those who use big trucks and sell charcoal. They usually park in the middle of the road, and by the time they are finished dodging that particular one, if they are not careful, they just have head-on collision with some other drivers from the opposite direction. But I want to find out from you, if you say traders, what exactly about traders?
Traders no,
what did they do? Traders in a day no more.
Oh, pack your quan, be all too tight, you are a fort now. If say when you're fort now, but content them. No, just Honma.
All right, he's still talking about the drivers with big trucks who sell charcoal, but he made a point about traders. Now, trailers, you mean trailers? Okay, so the trailers leave their cars in the middle. Okay, but apart from that, what other challenges do you face?
Apart from that, I don't have any problem.
So that's for the Accra Kumasi Road?
Yeah.
All right, I have another driver here with me. Hello, sir. Good morning. Welcome to Join You.
Thank you.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Patrick Obeng.
Patrick Obeng. Where do you usually travel to?
Accra, Kumasi, Techiman, Wa.
What are the main challenges?
The challenges we have, we normally have it on the road is the road markings and the road signs. And my brother has already said it all. Normally when they go to the road, maybe they have fault. They can't even have this thing, warning triangles to indicate that they have a fault or something like that. But normally, it depends on how the tracks are. Maybe there's no reflectors, there's no backlights, there's no trafficator lights. You can't even see anything that there is something that will indicate you that there is a fault or something like that. That's challenges we normally have on the road about the trailers.
So your main problems are with the trailers. Have you had any accident or a near accident because of the trailers?
We normally see what happens on the way. Maybe the driver will have a problem that maybe he have problem on the way, to maybe indicate that there is a fault in the car or something like that. He will never do that. So every time it depends on how they how they will do about the road. It depends on them.
So this seems to be a big problem for the drivers here. Your colleague just spoke about it. You are also talking about it. How do you think we can deal with this?
It will be better that we may have some track. When somebody gets a fault, he will move the car from the road so that the road can be free, so that everybody can do whatever you want to use the road for.
Some others have also spoken about potholes on the road, and because there are no lights, they find it difficult to see them ahead of time and dodge. Have you had any experiences like that?
Yes, we have. That's why the road is very dark, and normally when the road marks is there, your light will reflect on the road marks then, so that you can see that, oh, this car is coming, or this is the way you must to park, or you must to even use it. So that's the problem we normally have. So when the road mark is there, and how do you call it? When the road mark is, they do the road mark and the warning triangles, and how do you call it? The road,
directional signs, you mean?
Yeah. That's what I want to talk about. So that's our challenges.
So let me find out from you finally.
So that was Beatrice Edu speaking with some drivers here in Accra about the situation. Now, it seems like, it seems like they are echoing the challenges that we mentioned earlier, but they seem to focus a lot on trailer drivers. Are they the most problematic or the section of drivers when it comes to driving at night?
They are not far away from the facts on the ground, because given our position on the sub-region, we have very vibrant and functioning harbors that supports most of our sister countries, most are also landlocked and depends on these ports for their imports of essentials and all that. And on daily basis, these imports impact on our road, because these freights, high, heavy vehicles, some are articulated trucks and cargoes and containers are frequenting our ports. And of course, you know, we have 10 regions in Ghana. This port also serve all of them. And as said earlier, the rail and then the trams and all that are not there to support the road. So everything we do on the road, everything we do in Ghana in terms of communication is done on the road, both services, goods and passengers. And international and local are added more stress on the vehicle, on the road, and is that which the impact is what we are experiencing. This day and age, charcoal are freighted on the road, timber or lumber are freighted on the road, onions and perishables, among others that are supposed to be on train to ferry it quick, are all freighted on the road, in addition to passengers. And most of these vehicles that are long, heavy, and mostly laden are traveling long distances, and because of the nature of our road, in certain instances, they easily get broken down. And the fact that we haven't also managed well the use of our tires, because it's very soon that the enforcement on Regulation 62 regarding the use of standard tires are going to be enforced, and therefore you see a lot of tire bursts and all that, and all these implies that the vehicles are likely to get broken down. They easily get stuck on the road, and
then they can
it takes
cause
a lot of time.
obstruction.
And definitely when they break down, they cause obstruction, because our highways have thin shoulders, and when these vehicles get broken down, the solution in the law is that the police should quickly go and assist the driver to remove the vehicle from that dangerous position, so that nobody go and crash it. But you know, since independence, we haven't had the state haven't had the opportunity of procuring adequate logistics for towing and recovery of such trucks to police MTTD to do it nationwide. With regard to mini buses and saloons and sedans and 4x4s, when they easily get broken down, human effort can help to push it off. But these vehicles are vehicles that are difficult to move, push up, particularly of those that from 3.5 tons and above gross weight. when loaded. It's difficult to push it off. Therefore, you need a mechanical support. Otherwise, recovery or towing vehicle, which call for high investment, and the state has not been able to do that as expected. And the gap is what we see that in a day you see on our road corridors a lot of these heavy loaded vehicles littered on our road corridors, and particularly in the night, they become risk for all of us, and it is a problem. And no wonder the drivers who mostly embark on intercity journeys are echoing it back to Ghanaians that it is a problem that confronts all of us, not only them, because they are moving our goods and ourselves, and all that. In the end, when these things happen, we see our relatives and ourselves getting dead or injured. And therefore, they have echoed it right. And
it's a problem that is on the ground.
It beckons on all of us to ensure that the state gets the necessary logistical support to support the willing driver and the owner who is willing to remove the vehicle on the road.
Right. Let me go to Mr. Sumeni here. Mr. Sumeni, Mr. Obing has mentioned, the logistical challenges that we have. But there's also an attitudinal element, isn't there? Because if you're a driver, you have a challenge with your car. As much as possible, you must endeavor, if it's within your power, to move it to a place that will make it safer for others to be able to, or at least provide the adequate warnings on the road so that others coming are not in danger when they are coming. It looks like there's an educational element that is missing there, no?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Actually, the laws provide for all these things. In the law, as a vehicle owner or a driver, if your vehicle breaks down on the road, the onus is on you. You have 1 hour to remove that vehicle off the road if it is within an urban area, and you have 2 hours if it's on a highway. But the challenge here is that these trailers we are talking about, when they break down on the road, the recovery track to move this vehicle off the road, it is not adequate. So let's say he breaks down on the Kotoko bypass. To get a tow track there, maybe you have to move the recovery track from Kumasi or from Accra. So it will take time before the vehicle would get there. And if it gets there too, it takes it off. Where does it take it to? We don't have those areas because it ends up putting it at a part of the road where the shoulder is a little larger, or somebody's private property, or at the police station. That's why you see most of our police stations, especially the ones on the highway, you see them littered with a lot of vehicles, broken down vehicles. So this is a problem that he has mentioned, and that's a problem that we face as a country. The regulation also provides that the country should ensure that we get these recovery tracks on the road so that we can take these vehicles off the road.
That is fine, but the recovery tracks are not there. In the absence of these recovery tracks, there is something these drivers are supposed to do on the roads to prevent accidents.
What you have to also do is that you have to give warnings. So let's say if a trailer breaks down on the road, a trailer is supposed to carry actually 3 advanced warning triangles. So when it breaks down on the road, 2 of them, one of them 50 meters away, another 100 meters away, and then another 50 meters in front to warn off oncoming vehicles. That's why as soon as you see it, you see that there's a danger ahead. That's what it says. It tells you there's a danger ahead, so you need to slow down and be more cautious. Then also these tracks, by law, have to have these retroreflective stickers that DSP spoke about. If you realize, you see these yellow retroreflective stickers around these tracks. These are supposed to be able to reflect lights about 200 meters away. So when you're approaching such a vehicle, you see this light and then this reflection, and you realize that there is a vehicle up ahead. And if it is a broken down vehicle, you need to slow down and then move off it so that you don't run into it. But what happens is in the night, as I said, there was one problem that is facing a lot of Ghanaians, that is fatigue. So in the evening, in the night, most of the time, as a human being, you are programmed to be resting in the night. That one is something that's biological. You are programmed to be resting in the night. So when you are not resting, and then you are undertaking any activity, and you have not rested enough during the day, you end up going off. It's like your attention is drawn off whatever activity you are doing. And that happens also to drivers. So when a driver has been awake all day, and the driver is supposed to drive through the night. When he's driving through the night, you can't cheat nature. You'll be tired. And when you are tired, your mind strays off the activity you are doing. And that is how come sometimes it could be that the vehicle, there was a broken down vehicle with all the warnings, but you still did not see it. Sometimes you find out some accidents, the person ran over the warning triangle and still hit the danger because his attention was drawn off. His attention was minimized because
I've seen the two of you with a lot of statistics. Are you able to determine that we have more people getting into accidents because of fatigue or because of the lack of warning signs, or are we able to determine these with the figures we have?
Once we at the end of the year we collate figures, and when we collate figures, the causes of these accidents come up. And one of the major causes of accidents that we see in Ghana, as DSP mentioned when he was speaking, is speeding. It is a major cause of accident. So sometimes an accident can be attributed to a lot of causes. But you realize that speeding is one of the main causes because let's say if you are not speeding and then you even see a danger ahead late, you would be able to avoid it. But where you are speeding, it becomes dangerous, difficult to maneuver around the danger. And so speeding is the main cause of accidents. So,
Mr. Obeng, does that mean then that the real solution would be in better policing, better security? Because if these drivers are overspeeding and that's why they are being involved in accidents, that solution is spelled out, no?
Yeah, I think better policing, not in terms only of deploying a trained police officer to be lined up on our road corridors, but that also training a compliant driver who will self-comply, who will use the discretion and understand the nocturnal driving and diurnal driving, so that the driver will be defensive in nature. And we expect also that the vehicle owner should be policing. In other words,
but you see, policing is a specific job that is given to a specific group of people.
I was underlying. No, policing is a shared and collective responsibility, particularly in terms of road management. And that's what I'm saying, that the owner has a responsibility of maintenance. And maintenance is policing your vehicle to ensure vehicular safety. And that alone will ensure that the vehicle cannot cause a crash and it will be attributable to a mechanical failure when the tires are okay.
I mean, so we are talking about the majority causes being speeding.
I will come to.
Yeah, for the sake of time.
For example, with regard to the former policing on our road, we have here, for example, we have arrested 1,786 Ghanaians, most of whom were overspeeding, have overloaded their vehicles, were drunk and were driving, were driving with vehicles that had very bad and substandard tires.
Over what period?
Well, half year. That's what I'm
so that half year.
Yes. This year, I'll give you a brief.
In what area?
Ghana.
Across the country.
And we have those who were driving as untrained persons, otherwise called unlicensed persons, and there were those who were using vehicles that had expired document. In other words, the vehicles were not roadworthy enough. The maintenance was below what is expected. And we have motor riders who are not riding with helmets. They have not protected themselves. And we also have drivers who were driving with mobile phones on and were not in seat belts, among others.
So this seems like a small number for an entire. I mean, we are over 26 million Ghanaians and we catch 1,786 all traffic offences for 6 months.
That is what we have done so far for 6 months. And out of these, 2 are in jail. The rest have been slapped with court fines amounting to 628,157. All that I was just trying to say or to underline the traditional traffic police officer, the work that he's doing to ensure that the owner and the driver also do their bit in terms of policing. And these are the things. So we continue to do our bit.
It's time for business, but let me take the final word from Mr. Asumeni here. Are you satisfied with the way we are going so far?
When it comes to the statistics?
Yeah, when it comes to the statistics.
No, we are not satisfied, and that is why we are backing on these massive campaigns to alert everybody that, please, one, we are in the rainy season. The rains have been with us for the past months. driving at night becomes more difficult when it is raining. Even during the day when it is raining, driving is very difficult. Now, driving at night is difficult. It becomes more difficult when it is raining. And that's why when DSP was speaking, he said something about tailgating. We should not be tailgating. When you are driving, you leave distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. This is to ensure that should anything happen to the vehicle in front of you, you have that space to maneuver around it. And even that space should be wider in the night and more wider when it is raining. So these are some of the things that we can do. And if you know you'll be driving in the night, you should take adequate rest during the day.
DSP, your final words in a minute.
My final word is that all these that are happening are preventable. The owner has a responsibility of a vehicle, of his or her vehicle. The one driving, if you are not the owner, you have a responsibility to the state and, of course, ourselves. But I want to also admonish the state to ensure that the right investment is done to improve upon our road infrastructure, and then the support to remove, to disable accident and broken down vehicles are availed to the state security agency, so that when vehicles are broken down, whether we are called or not, we can at all times when we are alerted by the general public, we're able to move to go and remove such risk before innocent Ghanaians will run their vehicles into it. And we expect the drivers to ensure that when their vehicle breaks down, they should call these numbers. When it breaks down, you call. It's not just an arrest to protect public health and safety. Call 0302 773 906, 0302 773 906, and then 18555, and 18555 is toll free on all network, and 191 is also toll free on all networks. So try and call us so that police can come in with, but wherever we get the support from, you just call us. We will come in and assist. And
thank you very much, DSP Mr. Alex Obeng. He is the head of education and research at the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, MTTD of the police. Henry Asumeni is also the head of special projects of the National Road Safety Commission.